Hi, this is Mike Swanson, Wall Street Window. I got Andy Emerson with me again. We talked just the other day about the market, and you were quite bearish on it, and we were just floating above the recent lows. It looks like this morning we're going to gap below them because the market futures are down limit. You know, they're below the lows right now.
Yeah, Mike. It looks like we're definitely going to get a major retest right here this morning, and possibly, if we break the lows from a few weeks ago right here, this is going to be something like we had talked about earlier. It's something we've never seen before, and as far as a trader goes, I don't know, as a short-term trader or a long-term trader, I don't know what a man does here, but except just stay out of the way of this train, and just this thing right here is dangerous.
Well, it's certainly a mess. I mean, it looks to me like we're going to open down on the 2002 lows, and we've been in cash, just sitting and watching the past few weeks, and I may make some trade over the next couple of days. I put something on the website in the member section. I'm interested in buying for the long term, but that's the only thing I'm really interested in. Last night I looked through all the market sectors in the foreign markets, and they're all down substantially and so far away from their long-term moving averages that it's going to take them a year to get above them, even if things look good now. So as a whole, there really isn't much, I see to buy and hold, thinking it's just not a safe time to buy and hold, even though, we're falling at cheap prices and so forth. You always see like one trade that I may make that I think I could hold in the end of the year, even if I got something, was able to buy right on the exact bottom when this happens, which is a dubious proposition. I mean, it would just be a bounce, and you have to expect the market to go sideways or retest the lows or even break them. But it's pretty damn shocking what's happening. It looks like a massive margin call for the whole country and for hedge funds blowing up all over the place.
Mike, I've never seen nothing like it. It's really bad. It's a complete wipeout of wealth, and it's I don't know how you play it. I know it's a bargain here. Everybody's starting to say, well, we're falling back in such bargains here and everything. And yesterday, I remember I loaded up everything and I looked at it and I said, well, wow, the metal's down pretty good. And I said, but the HUI index wasn't down but like 5 points. And I was like, well, that ain't too bad. And I remember calling you up and saying, hey, Mike, take a look at this. This ain't down too bad. And you was like, well, better take a look at the percentages. This thing had dropped so much that the percentages were even huge. Even though the HUI wasn't down much, it was still, the percentages down was like 4 or 5%. And I was like, whoa, that's true. So, even though things are getting cheap, a $10 stock drops to $9. That's what 9% drop. And so you still have to be very careful here. But you was talking about, are you talking about the gold stocks here, the pulling all the way back to the '02 lows right here?
No, the whole market.
The general market.
The general market looks, it looks to me like it's going to go to them today.
Well,
I mean, it's not that far away.
I haven't said this. I mean, we talked about it a couple of times, but I wouldn't be surprised if they don't, shut the markets down.
Someone's been saying that. It's hard to imagine something like that.
I know it is, but I just have a good feel. I mean, if we drop another 10% in the next 2 days or something, if that were to happen, they could shut the markets down for a week or two. Maybe trying to allow certain hedge funds or something, or to unwind or go out of business, basically. I wouldn't be surprised. And another point to make is, you take a look at the action that we have this morning. We're getting back through all the years I've ever traded. If you saw a gap down, a 3-4% gap down, not talking about a 5, 6, 7% gap down, that was always a buying opportunity. And you could almost bank on buying the open and by the end of the day seeing a reversal candlestick. But you can't even do that anymore. You see this big gap down, and the first thing it says, well, is the market going to, it might reverse that in 30 minutes, and before the close, it could be down 750, 800 points. Dangerous times, dangerous.
Well, the thing about the market, like I was saying last night, I looked through all the averages, all the, using the TC2000, looked through all the individual sectors, it's over 300 of them. I looked at all the foreign markets, and everything has fallen so much, so fast, and they're so far away from the long-term moving averages. I can't, I was trying to think, is there any market, it doesn't compare in the United States, but is there any market anywhere that's done anything like this? And what I was trying to think was, what will happen after it bottoms? Because, like last night, when we talked the other day, I was thinking, we had this low and the market's been bouncing above it, and if it held above that low yesterday and today, we would probably go back up, that we would get a rally and have built a successful base. But clearly that's not happening as we're gapping down today. But I was thinking if we'd sold off, if the market was going to melt down, it would do it for the start before the week's over. But last night, we held the low and came back a little bit into the close. So I was looking at things with the thought that maybe we were going to rally or something. But then I was trying to think, well, what would that rally look like? And I was trying to find something I can compare it to, and I still couldn't find anything then, because I can't find a market that's fallen like this as quickly. I can't find an example of one. And the only thing I can think of isn't a market, but some, stock, let's say, that went up and then, was $70 and in the course of 2 or 3 weeks crashed because it had bad news. It is a growth company, let's say, that the growth stopped and then the stock, gaps down because everyone flees. And we've seen, examples of that kind of thing. And so it's like we're a penny stock that, falls 50% in a day. What I'm getting at is the only thing I can compare this to as far as the way something trades is a stock that just has a sudden collapse and crash. And every time you've seen that happen in a company, what usually ends up happening is it's a sign that there's some serious problems with that company, in earnings problems, maybe accounting fraud or something, but bad news is going to come out over the next couple months, and the thing's not going to go up. You're just going to get a bounce, and then, it's not a bottom. So that's the way it looks to me, which is that's pretty disturbing.
Yeah, it is. A lot of people compare this pullback right here, Mike, to kind of the snapback that you saw in 1987. But even this pullback here is, it's past that type of pullback. And another thing about the pullback in 1987 was the market was in a bull market.
That's right.
So we pulled back to the long-term moving averages, which were still pointing upward. The long-term moving averages now have curled over the top and are now pointing down. And like you said, we're so far away from the moving averages here, and I guess, after, in the next few days, it's no telling how far we'll be back, but how far we'll be from the long-term moving averages. In 1987, which you can't compare these two declines, but anyway, after the market bottomed there and went sideways for a complete, it bounced pretty decent, then it went sideways for about a year, and then it started grinding its, way on back up to its highs, and from the time it topped out, it was about 2 years later, it was back to its 52-week highs. But, and I hate to, get on here and just paint a picture of doom, but, this is really bad. And if the market makes new 52-week lows here, which it probably will, and we've been talking about that, it's probably going to be about the worst, fastest decline in history in the stock market, and that's damaging. That it's going to take years for this to get back in a position before it's time for to be a buyer and buy and hold. Probably, you can try to bottom fish this thing in the next year or something, but like you said, and we've always preached this years and years. You're never long in a market unless you're above the long-term moving averages. Anything you do below those averages, as far as going long, you're just bottom fishing and figuring
Or you're trying to trade, short-term rallies or something.
Mm-hmm. And, you hear a lot of people say, hey, this is a Warren Buffett type. I've been reading a lot of stuff, and I've been reading on the website and everything. And, you hear a lot of people say, well, this is how Warren Buffett did it. This is how he finds value. And, but, you're still putting a lot of money at risk when you're bottom fishing on a stock that was, I remember for a quick example back in 01, 02, a real good friend of mine who had a lot more money than I did, he basically says, hey, Corning is $10 stock. And it's so cheap, Andy, it was way more expensive than that, a year earlier. And this guy goes on a buying spree. Next thing you know, the guys have bought up, several thousands of shares and everything. Next thing you know, the stock's $5. Next thing you know, it's $3. So even though you think, you're bottom fishing because you're looking at value, you just don't know how low the market can actually go. And any particular stock can really ride you down. Now, Mike...
Well, that's what people have been doing all year long.
I know.
Trying to.
I know, and a lot of those people who are buying on the way down are part of the sellers that we're seeing now.
Sure.
Because people buy in, and then the stock drops another 20%, and you know how that goes, and it just keeps snowballing until basically everybody's totally disgusted and all the sellers are out. But I still haven't never seen anything like this, and it's going to be interesting times here.
Well, thanks for talking before the market opens, and maybe next week things will look a little better.
Thank you, Mike. A quick note is I hate that the market's down so much pre-market this morning. Normally I'm running to get to a computer to buy, to play the bounce, and this morning I'm like, nope. You can't even play the huge gap downs anymore because where is this thing going? So, but
we're going to find out.
Yeah, we're going to find out here soon, and hopefully it's over and we can put in a good bottom.
Yep. Well, we'll talk to you later.
Thanks, Mike.